Today's question is, hey Todd, how do I compliment a girl without seeming needy or try hard? Do compliments even work? Interesting question, and my question back for you is, when you ask, do compliments even work, what do you mean by work, right? What are you trying to achieve by a compliment? Because compliments definitely do have their place in game, but if you're trying to compliment in order to get a girl attracted to you, that's probably not the correct use. Fundamentally, when meeting a girl, trying to get her attracted and trying to start a relationship with her, you need to do a few things. You need to have time with her, you need to convey your best qualities with her, and you need to form a connection. And compliments can be a part of this, but how most guys who don't know game use compliments is pretty ineffective. Most guys who don't know game think that giving a compliment will make the girl like him. And that kind of makes sense, right? Being nice to someone gives someone a positive emotion. If they have positive emotions around you, why wouldn't they like that? However, when you're giving a girl too many compliments, what actually occurs is you seem needy, you seem too try hard, you seem too invested in her, possibly you seem like you want something from her, and all of those are generally negative. On the other hand, another common issue guys have is that they don't show enough interest in the girl at all. They just have a platonic conversation and they never get to the point. For that, a compliment actually would help. A compliment actually would take you from a completely platonic conversation to a conversation that is man to woman. Now, it would not at the same time make the girl attracted to you, but it would accomplish that particular objective. So compliments are good for making it man to woman. They're not necessarily good for developing value. And if you give too many compliments, you actually lose value. So how do we solve this sort of apparent paradox? And how can we give a girl a compliment if we do genuinely like something she's doing? Well, here's my suggestion. You can give compliments as long as they're mixed in with normal high value communication. So if you are being a cool high value guy in general, and then you occasionally just throw in a compliment, right? Having a cool high value conversation, girls enjoying it, you're being a good, cool guy, and every once in a while, like, you know what? That was really cool what you just did. You know what? You're actually quite cute. And then you go right back to normal conversation, it's not a big deal. That actually can work. If in the interaction, the girl's getting some compliments, but also some negative emotional spikes as well. She's a little more on her toes. There's a little more uncertainty about whether you actually like her, and that uncertainty can build some sexual tension, can build some excitement, and can actually build some attraction. Also, the willingness to offend, the willingness to not be polite all the time, does convey that you are a type of guy who's able to get along in the world without being nice all the time, i.e. a high-value guy who can stand on his own 2 feet, who can handle some, social pressure and social feedback and that sort of stuff. So that actually does build some value in its own way. All right. So again, ways that we can build value: generally good conversation, also these negative emotional spikes, and showing that you're non-needy, don't care, willingness to walk away. Those can all build value. Compliments do show some interest in the girl, which can be useful to a point, but not if overdone. You can take this one step further. If you take those positive spikes and negative emotional spikes you have in the conversation, you put them next to each other, because now you have this setup and punch sort of format. We call this a push-pull, where there is this immediate roller coaster ride where she's getting a positive emotion and negative emotion, and it's very emotionally arousing, as well as having that balance of positive and negative spikes. So that's a structural look about how often and how much you should be complimenting and what should be mixing into your conversation aside from compliments to have them not be needy. Beyond that, though, there are better and worse compliments, and there are better and worse things to compliment a girl on. So typically, if you compliment a girl directly on her appearance, that's going to come off as potentially having a sexual agenda. It's going to come off as being superficial and coming from just, I saw this girl, I liked her. It's not really something she earned. But if you compliment her on her behavior, something she did that was good, those are much more genuine compliments, and they're going to be taken in a much better way, both in terms of being meaningful to the girl and also in terms of making you look less needy and less like you have an agenda. So what you compliment on will make a huge difference in terms of whether your compliments are actually good or bad for the interaction. Aside from subject matter, the more earned the compliments are, the more relevant and meaningful they will be as well. So if you give a compliment to a girl when you've known her for 1 second, that's not very meaningful because you don't really know her, she hasn't really earned it. But if you give a compliment to a girl 15 minutes in for things that she's done over that 15 minutes that actually genuinely impressed you and you really mean it, that will actually be a better compliment. Finally, so far in this video, I've talked just about attraction. Right? Do compliments create attraction? And the fact of the matter is they don't. They do show interest in the girl, but they don't independently create attraction. However, not all of game is about attraction. Attraction is very heavily weighted at the start of the interaction. Over time, you do need to keep being attractive, but once the girl likes you, once she is attracted to you, she needs different things. She's going to need comfort and connection. And compliments actually are good in that context. So imagine this. If you've gone in, you've been a cool guy, you've attracted the girl, and she's interested in you. Now she's in a place where she's going to appreciate that compliment. And because you're so high value, giving the compliment that maybe does give back some of your value and maybe does elevate her relative to you is creating connection, creating chemistry and closeness between the two of you. And yes, you are giving back some of your value, but you had plenty of value to spare because you built so much of it up. And that's actually kind of the ideal place. So typically, if you see me talking to girls, I'm not making direct compliments by themselves. I may make a push-pull, like a compliment with a negative spike, or I may toss a compliment in the middle of other high-value behavior here and there. Even that, typically not right at the start. However, once I've established a lot of value and the girl is definitely liking me, I will start giving her compliments. Typically compliments she worked for. And that is going to serve the purpose of making her feel as though she's won me over, feel as though she earned me and that winning me was an accomplishment. She's going to value me more for the fact that she had to work for the compliments. And by the way, I'm not just making them up. They will be genuine compliments. If I'm genuinely not impressed, I'll make the girl work harder. If I genuinely am impressed, I'll be generous and tell her that I'm impressed in that context. And one of the absolute best things you can do for building connection with a girl actually is with a compliment, and that's this. It's to find two unique non-physical things you like about her and compliment her on the mix of those two things. That's a very unique compliment that is personal to her and will be very, very meaningful. And that, coming from a guy she's already attracted to, will build a ton of connection, a ton of chemistry, a ton of closeness, and actually is very, very good for the interaction. So coming back to the original question, do compliments work? For establishing value, not really. But for creating connection, showing interest, a lot of other reasons, yes, they do. You just have to make sure that you're in a position of value or a position where the value proposition is such that the compliment is not going to overdo it. If you do that right, compliments can actually be very, very effective. If you have questions on anything I've said in this video and or more questions you'd like answered on this channel, please post them below and hopefully you'll see it on a future video. Take care. See you later.